Alright guys, Mike here, also known as Kiwicoach. So in today's video, I'm going to be going off the series of how to become your own golf coach. So the last one was how to film. I highly recommend to check it out. It's going to be very applicable to this next video. So again, this video today is going to be on how to nail your setup for the face-on view. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so when we get into setup, basically all teaching professionals are going to agree on the majority of it. So in this video, I'm going to give you a basic guideline on a more of a traditional way of setting up. Now, I do understand that there are some of you guys out there that are going to be more towards the stack and tilt type of method, or you're going to be more rotational, two-plane, you have different club head speeds. I mean, there's a lot that goes into optimizing your setup for your individual self. And in my membership page, I'm going to be going into that in more detail, so look forward to that. So anyways, let's get into, I classify basically three types of setups. So for the full swing. So the first one is going to be sand wedge through 8-iron. So let's get into that. All right guys, so the first part that I look for in setup is your tilt. So basically the tilt is from your pelvis to your sternum. Your sternum is going to be back for a right-handed golfer to the right 1 degree for a sand wedge through about 8-iron. So that's basically your tilt. So again, the sternum is slightly shifted back from the pelvis. Now, the reason why I like it at a 179 degree tilt is with the sand wedge through 8-iron, the key emphasis on this is hitting down on the golf ball or taking the divot after the golf ball to compress the ball, to get sternness of contact and get the correct strike. So I preset my players at a 179 tilt to get them into a pretty good position to where if they make what I call a centered pivot, they're going to be in a great place to hit in front of the golf ball. Now from here, guys, so here's a great example of how that tilt is going to change for the club. So again, this is a driver right here. I'm at a 171 degree tilt. Now anywhere with driver, I like to see my students anywhere from 173 to 170. Now basically what that allows us to do is when again, your sternum is behind your pelvis, right around 9 degrees, what that's going to allow you to do is if you stay and turn around that pivot and then on the downswing, stay on that line or even stay slightly behind that line, that's going to allow you to hit up on the golf ball for the driver. So again, with the 179 tilt with the wedges, you want it to be a little bit more on top of the golf ball to have more of a descending blow and to contact the golf ball first and ground. Now, the less loft you have, the more tilt you want to have. So again, for driver, anywhere from 173 to 170 is a perfect amount of tilt. Now, once we get into, let's go into the category of 7-iron through 5-iron, I would like to see that tilt somewhere around 177 to 175 would be ideal. I found after numerous years of coaching that these numbers are pretty much optimal if you can turn around those and basically have your head on that number or slightly behind it at impact. So again, 177 to 175 with a 7-iron through 5-iron. Now let's get into the 4-iron, basically through like a 2-iron type hybrid. I'd like to see that number anywhere from 174 to kind of 173-ish, 175, 173, anywhere kind of around there is going to be ideal. Again, same thing, it's going to allow you to hit a slight bit more up on the golf ball. Again, with the 2 hybrid and the lower lofted clubs, you don't want to have as much of a descending blow, because when you start getting quite a bit of descending blow with not a lot of loft, the ball quite won't get up in the air, and for a lot of you guys need to have more of an upward angle attack, adding loft to kind of get proper distances with your longer irons. So again, these are the tilts that I look for in my players, and let's get on to the next point. The next point that you guys got to look at is basically pelvis alignment and where it's aligned. So I draw 2 lines through the ankles all the way up through the hips. Basically this shows me, and again, when you draw it through the ankles, try to make it at a 180 degree angle. Now when you do that, you're going to see basically where the pelvis is aligned. So if you see any excessive space, notice how there's no space at all here, but if you see any excessive space towards one side, your pelvis is misaligned. So I'd highly recommend aligning your pelvis within these blue lines. That's going to get you square kind of to the ball target line, as well as it's going to help with what we call pressure in the feet. So whenever your pelvis is misaligned, you're going to get your pressures kind of out of whack to start, and then you're going to have to make a compensating move to get back to the right pressure. So again, in golf, the less compensating moves you can make, more likely you're going to be able to make a better golf swing and a more consistent golf swing. So anyways, that is the next part right there. I'm going to do a little close-up right here. again through the ankles, 180-degree line as best as you can do. And even if you would like to as well, you see this angle right here, you can use the angle to make sure it's a 180-degree angle. And that's how it's supposed to look. Alright guys, so for the pelvis alignment, basically once you get into the longer clubs, as you can see the trail side leg, you're going to see a larger and larger gap on the right side. You might see a little bit of a gap on the lead side foot as well. Now the reason why there's a larger and larger gap is because you're tilting yourself a little bit more, your pelvis is kind of staying in the same place, and as well you're taking a larger stance, which kind of gets your pelvis a little bit more towards the lead side look. So again, that's okay, that's exactly what we'd like to see. Basically, driver, this is how it's going to look. Once you start getting into the 2 hybrid to 4 iron range, it's going to be slightly smaller, maybe about a golf ball, and then 7 iron through 5 iron is about a golf ball as well. So again, once you get into the shorter clubs, you're probably not going to see, well, you shouldn't see any gap. You want to have your pelvis basically touching those lines. And then again, once you get into the lower lofted clubs, you'll start seeing more and more space right here on the trail side leg.